It feels like every successful MMO that launches suffers from the same launch issues for the same reasons. We still have the server queues with thousands of players. They crash by the time you get to the end, and then you've got to re-queue. You've got a load of people that are in the game, don't want to re-queue, so they start AFK running around in circles to stop the AFK timer, and start running into walls. All of these things we've seen in every single MMO launch, and yet nobody ever remembers them, nobody fixes them. I don't know what's going on in the developers. If you just ask the players, they could have told you these problems, and they could have suggested solutions, because they're the ones that come up with the workarounds for your supposed solutions for them in the first place. And that is the situation that New World has been in launch. It's been incredibly successful, and just been completely unable to handle it. Except this is a situation like no other, because no other developer has ever launched with the single largest cloud server infrastructure in the world before. Servers shouldn't be a problem for this developer, and yet they seem to be. This is an interesting one. It's certainly unique, even though it's got all the same problems. And honestly, game developers, if you're going to come out with a new game, at least come out with new problems. Don't make me rehash old problems that I've seen time and time again, especially when there's been a game that's already solved these problems. So I don't know why you didn't just steal their solution, because it was amazing. But there's a lot to get through, so first, let's get stuck in.
Do you really wanna live forever?
New World has been a bigger success than I think anyone expected. Even Amazon will be pleased with this one. You see, at the moment, there's 450,000 players on it, and that's at midday UK time, so it's far from peak. In fact, he says here that it peaked last time at 758,000, which is insane. And you can see on Twitch, it's now at 302,000, and the next game, rather than just chatting section, is at 123, which is League of Legends, so it's massively more successful than other games right now. And as you can see here in the actual graph viewership, always love a graph, you've actually got nearly 1 million Twitch viewers at its peak. The actual player numbers, well, the Twitch viewers have kind of gone down over time, probably because they're buying the game. The actual player numbers peak at the same place for like 3 days solid at around 760,000 players. This is insane. But as you can see, the actual rating it's got is 53%, because it's got 30,000 positive reviews and 26,000 negative reviews. People are really split on this, but it's all for one reason, and that is that the servers are trash. They really are. Probably not the quality of the servers themselves. There's just not enough. It can't handle that amount of players, and with nearly 750,000 players, I kind of can't blame them. They set up all of these servers and they expected them to be able to handle the numbers, and just so many people came in, and they all want to be on the same servers because a lot of these people are actually following streamers, and then their friends want to join those people even if they're not interested in their streamers, and it grows from there. People get focused onto a few servers, and those servers have tens of thousands of people waiting, which leads to hours of queue time. At least that'd be the end of the story, except that when they got to the end of the queue, they got an error, and then they're back with 5,000 people ahead of them in the queue, and they've got to wait all over again. In a way, to their benefit, Amazon actually said with this one that we're not going to give anyone priority. So you've got all of your streamers or your YouTube content creators, they're in the same queue with everyone else, which is kind of honorable in a way. I can't fault them for it. But at the same time, it does lead to a lot of negative press, as all these people with massive platforms are now complaining about your game and just showing masses of queue times they've got to be in for hours and hours. It's not a good look. But the weird thing about all this is, because this is Amazon, obviously Amazon own AWS, which is literally the largest cloud server infrastructure in the world. They've got a market share in 2018 of 47.8%. It's not even close. Microsoft only had 16%, and they were second, a long way in front of Alibaba. So you can't say that these people don't have servers available. They've got as many servers to spin up as they want. But that's not really the problem, as you'll see here. You've got PC Gamer moaning about the server status, tens of thousands of people in queues, and you've got the reviews here, mixed, which you can't quite see on the screen. There you go. Mixed, 49,000. And if we go down to the reviews, these are just the negative reviews. There's obviously a lot of positives. Nearly every single negative review is about the queue. All the positive ones love the game. Even a lot of the negative ones say the game is good. They just can't play it, which is a problem. Long queues, queue simulator. Worst game I ever bought, spent 17 hours in queue, can't play it, Steam support refused because I've been in the game 17 hours. And that's the problem, the queue time actually ticks down your time played. And even though this game is renowned for having server queue problems, Steam, they see 18 hours played and they don't want to give it you back. They have made exceptions in the past, but this clearly isn't one of them. Look, good game, fun mechanics, few bugs, but you get banned for saying chesticles. Seems a bit over the top to me. Steam says 54 hours played. It's actually 2 hours played, 52 hours queued. You can't have this. It doesn't matter who you are. Now, to be fair, Amazon have done the best job that they could have done given the scenario. So I'm not even attacking Amazon for this one. What I am attacking them for is not having the foresight to see that this was going to be a problem in the first place. Because, again, any PC gamer that's played MMOs in the past, any MMO player that's played a lot of MMOs in the past, just generally PC players, could have told them that this would have been an issue. Because, again, this same problem happens every time. And it's this. 40% of our live servers have low or no wait times. We encourage you to seek those servers out and get playing. Because as I said, look, streamers come in and there are streamers out there with 30,000, 40,000 concurrent viewers at a time. These have massive viewerships. They've got the YouTubers as well, and what do? They all create their own guilds. And the issue is, a lot of them want to get on the same servers because they want to battle each other. They want those huge organized groups attacking each other. And can you blame them? It sounds awesome. But it does lead to thousands of people who all want to get onto the same few servers. And that's if it even ends up balanced, because if enough streamers join one side and no streamers join the other one, you just end up with a lopsided server, which isn't fun for anybody. Especially one which is so balanced around PvP like this game. So there's huge problems which I think really developers need to come up with a solution for this and plan for this to happen in the first place. Because it's going to happen whether you want it or not. It might not be normal player behavior, but it is normal and expected MMO behavior that we've seen in the past and expect to be replicated in the future. So you should have thought of this. So on the one hand, yes, 40% of your servers have low or no wait times, and you can tell people to go on there, and you can try and make it as easy for people to do that as possible. On the other hand, everybody could have told you that this would have happened, and you should have expected it. But they do say, we're working hard on a feature to allow you to transfer characters to servers. So choose one and get playing, and you can change later. This is kind of what I mean about Amazon and dealing with it the best way possible. Look, if you can't get on one server, make a character on another one, play that for a couple of weeks, and swap back eventually when all the servers and the hype has died down a bit. I don't really think at this point they could have done anything else. But I'm not the kind of person that's like, oh, here's a problem, they're handling okay, that's fine. A lot of the time I'm like, we all saw that problem coming. Why didn't you deal with it in the first place? We shouldn't actually be here in the first place. So while on the one hand I can appreciate what they've done, they really should have known that this was in, and no one has been in a better situation to handle this than Amazon with their cloud infrastructure, something which can create servers instantly. Just spin up as many as you want. That's literally what it's designed for. Now, Amazon, they've been very good with the communication. They're putting out tweets all the time. We're making new servers here, new servers there. The question is whether new servers is enough. If 40% of your servers are already low population, do you really need new servers? What you actually need is more capacity on the servers which are already filled, which, although they're trying, they're saying we're performing tests to increase capacity. So they don't even know if they can increase capacity. They're just trying things out. And I would suggest that all these tests probably should have been carried out before launch. We knew this was coming. You should have known that this was coming. These are developers which had a problem they needed to fix and have done the best they can to fix it. That's not the issue. My issue is that the problems have already been fixed in the past, and this was by ESO, the idea of the mega server. When this came out, I thought no MMO would ever suffer those same issues before, because what the mega server was, it wasn't lots of different worlds that actually happened. ESO is essentially one world, and all of the areas in ESO are built upon layer of servers, and then it balances all of the population on those servers, and essentially creates instances of various different areas, and it expands those instances as needed, the higher the population is and spreads people over. So as you're running around in ESO, it always feels populated because it is. It's sharing all of the population. And if one jet's overflowed, it just kicks you in with a load of new people into another area. It's amazing. And there's no reason New World couldn't have done this. Yes, they couldn't have done it for everywhere. Like all of the fort battles and everything, they have to be one situation because it's one world. But it does essentially allow infinite population in the rest of the world, especially around the towns. Loads of people complain about low FPS in the towns, and the mega server gets around it because you just have several versions of that same town and you balance the population across. That allows you to get all your players onto all these different servers and you can get them through the queue faster. So while you could come out with stuff and go, well, we're going to ban people which are getting around all of the various different AFK timers, you don't need to if you just expand the servers. And AWS is built for this. If they realize they're running out of servers and they need more population on one, they could just spin up a new server and add that into the mega server to increase various different instances around the world. Yes, this would have taken development time, but you know what it would have done? Solved all of your problems. Or at least limited them to the various different fort battles that went on. These then you could focus on some kind of PvP situation, which, let's be honest, you probably can't work around at this point if some of your servers are overpopulated. Because there is a problem with what Amazon's doing, and it's a problem that we've seen with every other MMO as well. MMO does the same solution to the queue problem. They add more servers, they add more worlds. But the issue is, in a few months, your population isn't going to be as large as it is now. And so what you end up with is a load of people leave, and now you've got a load of dead servers that you're going to have to merge, except they probably won't want their servers merged because they've invested a load of time and money into earning all of the various different areas on that server. And if you do merge servers, what are you going to do? You're going to unbalance the population over there or change what they've been used to. It's got numerous problems in the future. That's what they're building for there, and nobody seems to be thinking about it because everyone's like, oh my god, the queue times! We've got to solve the queue times! This is a problem that you only could have solved at launch, only could have solved before launch. This is something that needed thinking about, that needed solving, that needed the infrastructure in place to solve it before launch. And yet it either wasn't thought about or wasn't done. Even though they were in the single best position with AWS of any other MMO developer in the world that's ever existed. They had everything done for them. Every problem could have been solved, every idea in MMO, all the problems have already been seen before and the solutions already created. They just had to have people knowledgeable of these ideas and willing to implement them. And they didn't do it. So the game may be great. The reviews that are actually good suggest so. All of the negatives that I've seen, or at least a lot of them, come down to the same problem, that of queue. Now, maybe the queue time is just the biggest problem, and once those people get in, they'll realize there's other problems. Like, a lot of people are complaining about repeating the same areas. It's a walking simulator. The combat isn't fun. There aren't enough skills. It's definitely got other problems, but there are a hell of a lot of people enjoying this game right now, and yet the problems that keep being repeated, all the biggest issues with the game, are ones that should have been expected and solved. And I know why. It's because it would have required work that basically only would have been applicable at launch. I can understand the theory. It's just if you want players to play long term, the most important part of your game is launch. These people have a bad launch, they're just not that likely to stay on afterwards, and you can see that by the people who are trying to refund their game and are unable to. The fact that they want to refund it means that they're not happy and they're not likely to play it and buy anything else in the future, like cosmetics or DLC, etc., etc. So while the developers might have considered something like the mega server and thought it was just too much work to do, too much infrastructure to plan, when it won't be that useful later down the line, I say it's worth every penny, every hour spent, because that would have helped your launch, it would have made people enjoy your game more, and they're more likely to stay and get invested in guilds and fights and everything else you've got in your game. Your launch is the most important part. I would say it's worth any amount of man hours to get it done right. But who am I? I'm just a guy here recording the drama. I'm not that invested in the game myself. And so maybe they really don't care. Maybe they're happy with the numbers. Maybe they're happy with the people that will leave and they've all projected out the numbers themselves. I just think they could have been so much better than they have, and that's what I want. That's what I'm going to push for. And whether developers agree with me or not, I'm going to continue saying it. So for now, that's it from me. If you liked the video, press like and subscribe more videos like this in the future. And let me know what you think of New World and the disaster down below. Have you experienced this in MMOs before? Let me know down in the comments. But for now, that's it from me. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.